The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Still no word at the time of going to press on the injuries to Schmidt and Ogilvie, but as soon as we do get any news, then obviously we'll tack it into our news updates. Here is the rest of What's What.
Since his arrival at Fratton Park, Colby Bishop has been a nailed-on first-team starting selection for the number 9 slot. He won Player of the Season, was easily Pompey's highest scorer in his first season, and he eclipsed those achievements by coming back from serious open-heart surgery to once again dominate Pompey's goal-scoring. During that time he experienced one brief spell of drought in front of goal, but he quickly re-established himself, famously cupping his hands behind his ears in reply to the handful of fans who had criticised him on social media. It seems those fans might be at it again, as Bishop has only netted once in Pompey's opening 5 games. He's come close, on numerous occasions, not quite getting a toe on some tantalising crosses, or finding the ball arriving to him in a way making it difficult to get a shot off. When John Messino announced his team against Southampton, one selection that crept under the radar was that of teenage striker Mackenzie Kirk on the bench. Bearing in mind how strongly Messino favours having competition for all places, the possibility is emerging that although Pompey will start with Bishop against Sheff Wednesday, if Pompey find themselves defending a comfortable lead, perish the thought, acknowledging that the game has slipped away from them, it would be an opportunity to give the youngster a debut, and to get a feel for a goal-scoring talent that has clearly been evident on the training ground, and whether he can reproduce it in the cauldron of a championship match at Fratton Park.
Yes, I think most of us were taken up with the occasion on Sunday so that we didn't notice important things that were happening a little bit further down the pecking order than the starting 11. And, discussion and speculation and hope and fears about this all-important game that was taking place. So we scarcely noticed that Thomas Waddingham wasn't anywhere to be seen. Certainly not as a first-team pick and not on the bench either. But that Mackenzie Kirk, who had come in very, very recently, and he was on international duty up until a few days before Messino was called upon to make his selection for the first team and the bench. So they can only have seen him on a couple of sessions on the training ground, if that. And yet they are sufficiently confident that they maybe have somebody who can score a goal out of nothing. That's what we want. And that's what Colby Bishop is perfectly capable of doing, and has done already once this season with our goal of the season so far. I know it would have been a worldie by Andre Dezelle if that one hadn't hit the bar, but so far that glorious header from Colby Bishop is far and away our goal of the season, and it's what he can do and does do and will continue to do, of course. But competition for every shirt has to be a good thing, surely. I mean, not if you're the owner of that shirt, not if you're the person who's been wearing that shirt unquestioningly for more than 2 seasons, knowing that somebody is breathing down your neck, particularly a kid, it could be unsettling. But you're a professional footballer. Colby is professional through and through. He knows the state of the game. He knows which way's up. And he recognises that John Messino wants to have options for every position on the pitch. And he wants the player who is chasing the player who has the shirt to be actually chasing the shirt, to be putting pressure on him, to be putting that 1% extra into whether it's effort or skill or scoring a goal from nothing. Now, the tentative talk is that Mackenzie Kirk can score a goal from nothing, but he's been doing it at a lower level than the Championship. There are those who would argue disparagingly about Sheffield Wednesday that we're playing a team that aren't really of Championship standard on Saturday. Well, you try telling that to John Messino. He will be telling his players, quite rightly, that there are plenty of dangers out there for them on the pitch against Sheffield Wednesday, that they're well organised, that their manager knows what he's doing, that they've got a lot of quality players, and they'll be coming with a game plan, and we're going to be finding ourselves frustrated to begin with because they will frustrate us, and then they'll look to score on the break. I would imagine it will be something along those lines. Probably a damn sight more sophisticated than that, of course. But whether or not he perseveres with Mackenzie Kirk as the reserve striker on the bench against Sheffield Wednesday, and he didn't really have an opportunity to give him a run out against Southampton because it was all guns blazing right the way down to the final whistle, wasn't it? But if we find ourselves, I'm going to say it out loud, if we find ourselves 3-0 up or 3-0 down with 15 minutes to go, we might just get a look at Mackenzie Kirk. And then the onus is on him to do something, and he'll know it. Whether or not he takes the opportunity, time will tell. Just another interesting, exciting thing to look forward to come Saturday. Sheffield Wednesday it is, the Owls.
Rich Hughes is outlining where Min Hyuk Yang is in terms of selection, saying, Min Hyuk has been great. He's probably had a bit of a bumpy pre-season in terms of going away with the Spurs first team and not getting many minutes, so that has set him back a bit. However, the training block he had with us during the last international break has been really good for him. He's not been away, this is the first time he's had a real consolidated period of training, and he's shown everyone what a good player he is. Hopefully that will get him up to sharpness quickly. Min Hyuk has been bright around the place, we've been really pleased with him. He will get his chance, and I am sure he will show everyone what a talented footballer he is as well. He came on against Oxford in the first match, and showed some nice glimpses, but then it has been about the way the last 4 games have panned out for his not featuring. At Norwich we were chasing the game and it went very physical and aerial. For West Brom, we had to defend and press from the front with real aggression, then defend the ball in the box. Similarly, against Preston, the opposition got bigger and bigger as the game went on, and that probably predicated John's decision to make the changes he did. We're pleased to have been able to bring Min Hyuk in, and like all the wingers, he will need to bide his time. There is competition for every shirt now, that's what we always strive to achieve.
Yeah, Rich Hughes touched on something that a lot of people have noticed, which is the glut of wide players that Pompey will have available pretty soon when Callum Lang is fit again and Harvey Blair as well. We've got Callum Lang and Harvey Blair as aforementioned. We've got Adrian Segacic, who performs perfectly well wide on the right, although he's even better as a number 10, some say. Josh Murphy is an out-and-out left winger, but he is learning to track back and he's learning to make a nuisance of himself. He's learning the art of being a left-sided midfield player who covers his left back. And hopefully will pretty soon be as adroit as all of those skills as he is being an attacking left winger. We've got Florian Bianchini, who looks promising increasingly. We've got Franco Ume, who John Messino was talking about a couple of days ago, saying that he is just about ready now for first team selection. And of course we've got the Korean, who is of all of our wingers possibly the one with the brightest future. He really is tipped for great things, and he's ours at the moment. Min Hyuk. I'm waiting for definitive on how to pronounce his name, but we're going with Yan Min Hyuk. It's a glut of players who are very versatile, because Callum Lang can play as a wide right player, and we know that the match where he did that and did that alone, he did it really, really well, attacking his man and getting his crosses in. So he can do it. Segacic can do it. Murphy obviously can do it. Bianchini, we're told, can do it. Franco Ume is looming large over the players who are trying to hang on to the shirts of the wide attacking forwards. Harvey Blair, he's got a bit of a way to go before he's fit again, but when he comes back, who knows what we've got there. He looked pretty sharp the times he's turned out for us. And then, of course, there is the Yan Min Hyuk. So we're doing well for wide-sided, versatile attacking players.
Ill feeling from Sunday's occasionally bad-tempered derby between Pompey and you-know-who is lingering on up the road. Whilst Portsmouth Football Club enjoy a flourishing relationship with Portsmouth News and their outstanding team of football journalists, the Southampton equivalent newspaper The Daily Echo is struggling to find an editorial position which will both find favour with the fans and avoid any misunderstandings with the hierarchy at St Mary's. After the game, John Messino treated journalists to a masterclass in performance in his post-match press conference. He was open, eloquent, witty, perceptive, generous, diplomatic, and above all good-humoured and engaging. His counterpart, who Messino claimed was in Messino's ear throughout the game and acted with zero grace when the moment came for the managerial handshake, carried his black mood into his meeting with the press. He made it clear with his surly, glowering demeanour and cold gaze he didn't want to be there, and was not going to give the Southampton journalists anything to work with. The suspicion that there is a growing resentment towards the recently installed Belgian, coming from a large section of the Southampton fans, is now strengthened by the suspicion that the Southampton press are beginning to be exasperated with his resentment towards cooperating with journalists. There are also the beginnings of a suspicion that his players are not finding him any easier to work with. After the game, the Southampton Daily Echo said this, with all the diplomacy they could muster.
Saints boss Will Still is not afraid to speak openly, but he does not feel the need to elaborate on a question from a journalist if it is not needed. His two-word answer to one question following Sunday's 0-0 draw with Portsmouth showed he understands the perspective of the club's supporters. Still recognises that fans were left frustrated following the drab encounter with their bitter rivals, and he wants to keep St Mary's on side this season. Saints managed just one shot on target against Pompey, on their way to recording a 6th point from their opening 5 championship outings. A reporter asked Still who, if anybody, came out of the match, and in particular a dismal first half, with any credit, and his response was clear. Swiftly and steely-faced, Still simply said, "The fans." The atmosphere suffered marginally as a result of the poor quality game, but Saints continue to be very well supported at home and on the road. Still has warned supporters that it will take time for his team to reach the peak of their powers, adding, "It frustrates me even more than you." He should and will be granted that time. His record in a fledgling managerial career has earned him the support and patience of everyone at the club.
Ordinarily, I think the fact is we don't pay much attention to that lot up the road. We occasionally check their results just to make sure that they've lost, but we certainly don't track them, and we aren't aware of any of their issues, their personalities, or people who lack a personality. But since the taste of Southampton is still lingering in people's mouths, it's worth just dwelling on the fact that the current manager of Southampton, isn't a very impressive individual yet. Or at least if he is, he hasn't shown it yet, or at least he hasn't shown it when we were watching, because he was pretty, I'm going to say pretty surly, unpleasant. I want to say unpleasant. I'm going to say unpleasant. He was pretty unpleasant throughout the game. He looked permanently as though he looked like he'd swallowed a wasp, is about the best way I can put it. He's got that glower about him. His haircut doesn't work. He doesn't look like an athlete. None of these things you can say about John Messina because they wouldn't be true. He didn't have much of a playing career. He recognised at the age of 17 or 18 that he wasn't going to have a footballing career. So he got into coaching. And his successes in coaching are such that there is an element for me of mystery about why Southampton appointed him in the first place. He just doesn't have any kind of a track record. Now, I know John Messina had less of a track record when he was appointed by the Eisners, but John Messina can be so impressive in conversation and reveal a very, very well-tuned mind, not just in football, but in how to engage with people, which is so important. One Southampton fan, reacting to the difference in the press conference of John Messina and Will Still, said, "You don't have to be eloquent to be a good manager." I've said it before, I'll say it again. That is exactly what you do need to be able to do, because that's how you transmit your ideas. That's how you transmit your camaraderie, your personality, the things that you hope your players can achieve for their sake as well as your club's sake, as well as your sake. If you've got that gift of the gab, and John Messina has got it in spades, you're well on your way, especially if you do have a good understanding of football, and it's very clear that he does. He was an extremely competent player, playing at right back, playing at centre-half, playing at holding midfield. He could do all of those jobs at nearly but not quite the highest level. Whereas Will Still, what kind of confidence is he going to be able to inspire in a team of players, most of whom, if not all of whom, think that they're Premier League? And he's, I don't know, Southern League? I mean, they're not going to have huge confidence in him. And as a consequence of that, I would suspect that when we come to play them, entertain them at Fratton Park is it the New Year? Is it January? I should look it up. Forgive me. He won't be around.